CEO of P360, here today to talk to you about deadlifting. So many of you, again, heading into the gym, new year, want to do the best we can and go out and want to deadlift. So the biggest question I get is deadlifting bad for your back? And the resounding answer I give is no. It's actually quite good for your back. Next question I tend to get is there an appropriate form or a way of doing the deadlift? And the answer is yes, but it's not the same for everyone. And one of the big keys to identifying the appropriate deadlift is doing a few little key, I guess, tips or tricks just to make sure the deadlift that you do is right for you. Because once we start increasing the weight on our deadlift, then we get problems with either compensating or doing things that we shouldn't be doing. And that's when we start to get our back or knee pain or any other sort of pains that develop in from there. So let's go and have a look at what you should do for your deadlift. Okay, let's talk about the deadlift now. So a couple of things that we like to do if you're a first-time lifter or if you've been getting pain with your deadlift, I want to get a few little tips just to make sure we don't get those painful experiences and be able to lift as much as you can and as pain-free as you can. Here's a few things. So let's approach, this is a deadlift platform. What we have here is one Olympic bar, which is a 7-foot bar with some weight on it that weighs about 20 kilos, and then we have a trap bar here, which weighs about 30 kilos. I'm not really phased which bar you want to use because I feel if you're deadlifting, you're doing the right things that you should be doing anyway. So today we'll go through and demonstrate on the Olympic bar how you should lift, and we have Amanda here joining us today. So what we're going to do in terms of the way we go about a deadlift is it's individual for everyone. So there's no perfect way for everyone to deadlift, but there's a few little tips and hints we can give to find out what deadlift works best for you. So what I normally do if it's the first time doing a deadlift is that we put a relatively light weight onto the bar and we just have a look at what happens naturally. So Amanda, we'll just get you to sort of bend down and attempt to do a deadlift, get comfortable through your feet, look at a grip that feels comfortable, and then lift up and back down into there like that. Any issues as you did that? No. All good? So what we want to do now is we want to have a look in trying to cue a few of the areas to work. So our deadlift is really, really good at building our hip strength, our knee strength, and obviously good for the ankles and the back as well. We just got to make sure that we don't overload one particular area. So what we often find is when the weight gets a bit heavier, we start to overload either the knees or the back or the hips. So we want to make sure we get a nice even use of everything and know how to control and what works for our body. So what we're going to try now is we'll stay in the similar sort of feet position. We'll stay with the same grip for the time being. But what I'm going to get Amanda to do here now is focus more on the hip. So as she goes to lower down to pick up the bar, we're going to get more movement out of the hip. We're going to go from there. And another little tip as we grip the bar is just don't over grip it. We don't want to be lifting through the arms. We want to be lifting through the hips. So in this one here, we'll drive up and then really focus on the hips and then back down. Good. Any dramas there with that one?
Probably felt better.
A bit better? Okay, good. So the next type of deadlift that we're going to look at is now a more of a knee dominant one. So what's going to happen as we do this one, it's a bit tricky for some people, but just trying to go forward through the knees a little bit more, and we're going to see if that is better or worse for this particular deadlift. So same thing, bending the knees more. Now we're focusing on the knees as we lift, back and then back down. That's good. How did that one feel through there?
Yeah,
Not as good. So in Amanda's case, we found on the first one we had a fair bit of knee and hip movement. When we actually cued the hips, it felt a little bit better. If you were getting back pain during that particular deadlift, it might be a cue that your glute muscles at the back here, are not working or switching on appropriately. We might need to work on a few little cues to get that working. With the knee dominant one of the things that may limit that is lack of ankle movement. So if we're a bit stiff through the ankles, it means the knees can't come over properly. And if we're very knee dominant during our deadlift, it means it can put a lot of pressure onto the actual knee itself. So there might be some tips that we need to work on with respect to getting more and more ankle movement coming out of that. But in the meantime, if you really focus on the hips and try to drive through the hips, relax the hands as you go to pick up through the bar and get a nice comfortable feet position, I'm sure it'll help you deadlift. Thank you.